Hello everybody. Hi everyone, how are we doing? Thanks so much for joining us today. I'm Kelly from spiritualawakeningsigns.com and I help people like you who are going through spiritual awakening to reduce their symptoms and make that process a little bit easier. In fact, we're taking it one step further today and we're going to be looking at healing the symptoms of your awakening, which is super exciting. So if your awakening is overwhelming, if it's emotional, if it's full of challenging signs and symptoms, then this is the live event for you. I have literally created it specifically for you, and I'm so glad to have you with us. It's going to be a 3-day live event. It's going to be jam-packed with simple step-by-step guidance on how to treat literally any awakening symptom that you have, no matter how weird or wonderful, because they are, no matter how long you've had it, and no matter how bad it's been, you can treat it and you can move forward and things can get better. And by the end of this 3-day live event, you will be able to confidently heal and treat your awakening symptoms, no matter what they are, with the awesome energy healing technique EFT Tapping. It's the same method that I used to move through my awakening, and things are so much better now. It's so much easier than it was. So I'm super excited to share this with you. In today's class, I'm going to be teaching you all things EFT. But by the end of today, that's the goal, by the end of today, you'll be able to do the basic healing method on yourself. So you can try it out and get started on that healing pathway. You can start moving forward in your awakening, and you'll be self-applying it in real time with me. So you'll literally be able to apply it to yourself. You don't have to wait for a therapist. You don't have to save up your money. You don't have to, wait in desperation. You can just try it right now and see how you feel. And also I want to say, please don't stress about remembering all the details. Please don't stress about taking notes, because I thought ahead and I created a free cheat sheet. So it's basically a how to do tapping kind of quick start sheet that you can download, you can print off, and you can use it to really get you started with healing so that you know you're doing the right thing. So I just want to say hello to a few people because a few of you have popped up. So Danielle, she's excited to be joining the live video. Thanks so much for coming. Ruby, we've literally just spoken in the group, so thanks for coming along. This will be all new to you. Rajni, is that how you say that? You're so welcome. I love sharing this work. It fulfills my heart and soul. I love it so much. And Edward, from Montreal, I love it when people come from really cool places. Scotland's so small, so thanks so much for joining us. I really appreciate that you're all here, and I really feel confident that by the end of this 3-day event, you're going to really develop a sense of confidence that is unrivaled. It just changes your awakening so much, and it really changed mine. So thank you for joining us today. And also I can see that Laurie's here. Laurie came before. Thanks again for joining us, and she's been getting into all the EFT stuff. Excited to learn. I'm excited to teach this because it's a game changer. It's just going to change everything for you. All you have to do is follow along what we're doing today and start applying it. Just start applying it in any way you can. Even if it's not perfect, it doesn't matter. Just start applying it and you will start to move forward, and your energy will respond and your body will respond. So it's going to be awesome. So what I want to do before we get started is just have a kind of brief overview of my awakening, the crisis that I hit, and how EFT really saved me. Because I wasn't expecting EFT to save me. Out of any healing method that I did, I certainly wasn't expecting EFT to do anything for me. And what had happened was I'd been going through awakening for a number of years, and it had been really hard, or up to that point I thought it had been hard. It came to another level. It had been really hard. It had been overwhelming. It had changed a lot, and the symptoms that I got were peculiar, and I felt like I couldn't talk to anyone about it. But I've also felt really connected to source, so my intuition at that time was really clear, and I was connecting to guides often and looking for guidance and help and assistance to move forward. And it seemed as though I got higher and higher and higher. And the higher I got, I was doing healing practice. I was really dedicated to doing a lot of healing practice. But it seemed that the more that I healed, the more I found that came up. More traumatic memories, more past life memories, more pains, more emotion, and I felt like I just couldn't keep up with it. It was the strangest thing. It seemed like every time I healed a little something else, it was like Pandora's box, and everything just got so much worse. I couldn't understand it. And then eventually what happened was I was essentially dropped from a height. So when we're talking about a dark night of the soul, that's definitely what this was. I went from, struggling with my awakening but feeling quite high energetically, and then crashing right down. And when I crashed, all my intuition was cut off, all my guides were cut off. I couldn't even sense source anymore. I felt like God didn't exist. There was no purpose for me. There was no path. I'd gotten it all wrong. And I just swirled into this pit of despair. My body started breaking down. I was in pain all the time. I was depressed, isn't even the word. It was a new level of feeling that I'd never experienced before. In fact, I can remember at one point being so incredibly full of despair one day that I was on the floor crawling on my hands and knees, sobbing so hard, trying to get to the window so that I could get the sunlight on my face. I was in such a dark place. It was another level, and it was scary. It was really, really scary. And from that place, I developed a lot of despair and disappointment because I couldn't understand why I had the most I did healing all the time. I really worked hard at healing my awakening and moving forward, and I couldn't understand why I was able to sink so low when I'd been doing healing for 10 years. It just didn't make sense. And from then, I realised that I couldn't do any of the things I did before. And just to give you an understanding, I'm actually an energy healing teacher and trainer. So I teach people how to do this. I've done sessions for 10 years. And I've done a wide variety of different energy healing methods and techniques. And I love them all, and I'm passionate about them all. But it got to the point when I came to that dark point in my awakening that I couldn't actually use any of those methods because I was cut off from source. I was so negatively grounded that I couldn't connect back up. I couldn't use anything intuitive anymore. And I was scared. I thought, wow, I don't have any tools. I don't have anything that I can use to save myself from this space. So what I remembered was that I had learned EFT. Now, EFT I had learned maybe 10 years previous when I had come through a terrible bout of chronic fatigue syndrome. And I was actually in a wheelchair, unable to walk for about 3 years. And that was how I started on my healing pathway. I discovered EFT. It healed me in about 4 months of using it and practicing it. And then I knew that that was the thing I was meant to do, all this healing, and I moved forward. But over the years, it kind of became this thing where I wanted to do the more wacky stuff. I wanted to do the more spiritual, intuitive, psychic work. And EFT kind of fell by the wayside, and I hadn't picked it back up. So when I was in this really dark place, I really went into it with a perspective of, well, EFT will have to do because I have nothing else. There's nothing else that I can use. And I started to use that healing method daily, not expecting it to save me in any way, shape or form. What I was thinking at the time is, well, this will have to do, but it'll also help me survive each day, because I was very much in a space of, I'm just clawing my way, trying to survive, to keep moving through this dark place. So what I would do is use the healing method on myself every day, on the emotions that I had coming up, the triggering that I had coming up, the aches and pains, the thoughts, the energetic sensations, anything that I had going on that was making me uncomfortable, even depression. If I woke up with depression or anxiety, I would say, okay, I can't actually survive the day, this is so uncomfortable, I'm going to work on it. And the weird thing was that after about 2 months of doing that, I suddenly had an epiphany. I suddenly looked around and thought, oh my God, things are getting better. And it's so strange, it was so gradual that I hadn't noticed. It wasn't like I went from deep dark despair to high vibrational joy. It was like deep dark despair kind of became like depression's letting go, and then it became, kind of neutral. I was just kind of neutral for a while. Then it became contentment. Then contentment became joy and a lightness of being. And really, before I knew it, everything had changed for me. My point of attraction had changed. Life got better. People were kinder. I was connecting with people in a different way. I suddenly became aware of my life purpose and fulfilled all this work that filled a gap in me somewhere in here that had been there my entire life. And, got all my intuitive abilities back, and they were 10 times better than they'd ever been before. It literally was the thing that I used that I had no clue was going to do that for me, but it did. It really did. It was an incredible experience. But I wouldn't want anyone to go through that darkness again. I wouldn't want anyone to experience that in their awakening. So it's a really valuable thing, and it's something that I hold really, really close to my heart. And it was an incredibly difficult time. There's no taking away from that. It was hellish, but it taught me the value of healing. And I got to see a first-hand account of what happens when you use the wrong healing method, because all those techniques that I was using, and all the techniques that I had been teaching for years and using in session, they're incredibly powerful techniques. They are still favourite techniques of mine, but I didn't realise that they were not compatible with awakening, and in fact that they were dangerous, because what they were doing is, the more I was doing all this healing work, the more it was stimulating my Kundalini energy and causing the energy to shoot right up through my system, which was making my symptoms worse. It was making emotions come up faster. It was triggering more things for healing. It was making me ungrounded, making me feel unsettled in myself. It was causing me anxiety. The list goes on. Okay, so it broke down me body, mind and soul by stimulating my energy in the wrong way, because we're very, very delicate when we're going through awakening. Our energies are so volatile. You have to be really careful what you expose yourself to. And I really learned the value of that. And the plus side is that I did learn that EFT is safe. It's a grounding method that you can use. But, there are certain things you should use for awakening, and there are certain things you shouldn't use. And I hoped that I would come into work like this with a really balanced view of, it's up to you and see how you feel. But because of the experience I've had, I just know that there are certain things that are not good for you, and I'll always tell you the truth on that with, don't go there, use something that I know is safe. And if I ever discover anything else that works, I'll let you know, but for now, EFT is it. So what I do want you to know before we get into all this healing work is that if your awakening is overwhelming, if it's emotional, chaotic, if you feel stuck, or if you feel that you're actually struggling to cope, your soul needs healing. Full stop. Okay? If your awakening is really difficult, if you're struggling to cope, if there's emotions coming up that you can't handle, if there are experiences happening that you can't handle, your soul needs healing. Okay? Your soul is giving you the information to say, these are the things I need you to heal, even though you don't understand them, and even though they look like awful symptoms, this is what I need you to heal. So that's what we're going to go into tomorrow. I'm just touching on it now, but tomorrow we're going to talk about what your soul wants you to heal. And you'll be able to identify that by the end of tomorrow's class, but we'll cover that tomorrow, because it's another really important part of the puzzle to make sure that when you learn these healing techniques, you're actually applying it to the right thing that's going to make difference, rather than just sporadically applying it to anything. Okay, really important. So a little bit more about EFT. So if you don't know much about it, it's an incredibly powerful energy healing modality. It's simple, even for newbies, even for people who have never tried healing or energy methods or anything on themselves before. It's really, really simple. It's self-applied, meaning that you don't have to wait for a therapist, you don't have to panic over an appointment, you don't have to go outside if you don't want, because some of us do feel really introverted. You can just immediately, when that emotion or feeling comes up, you can start applying it to yourself. And all we're doing is we are tapping with our fingertips on specific acupressure points around the body, okay? And while we're tapping on those specific acupressure points, we're thinking about or focusing on the problem or the issue that we want to heal. That's all we're doing. So as we're tapping on these points, the energy is getting dissolved and we're telling it where to go. That's as simple as it is, okay? It doesn't get any more complicated than that. So there are specific benefits to EFT tapping over other therapies, even though other therapies are amazing. And I want to state that there are still other therapies that I use that I love and adore and I'm so passionate about, but they're not always compatible with spiritual awakening. So for spiritual awakening, EFT is the one you want to be using. The good thing is you can learn it in about 10 minutes. You can learn the basic method in 10 minutes, you'll be ready to rock. It's easily self-applied and you can use it to treat any awakening symptom. And I want to just really clarify that, because I don't think people understand the depth of that. It doesn't matter whether it's an emotion, a feeling, an energy sensation, an entity that you pick up, or a weird vibe in a room, a weird vibe off of someone else. If you can feel it, you can heal it. If you can feel anything in your system, you can use EFT to treat that uncomfortable thing. Whether it's a thought, a feeling, an emotion, a memory, it doesn't matter. Anything can be treated with that throughout your awakening. It works really fast, so you'll literally start to feel better when you begin the tapping within a few minutes, which is, welcome relief. It grounds your energy, which is the thing that makes it completely different from any other healing method through awakening. It's very, very grounding, so it's safe to do. And it heals issues permanently, okay? And I don't want you to take that too lightly, because EFT is a really simple thing to apply, but you need something that is going to heal things permanently so that you don't have to come back and revisit them, so that you don't attract those patterns back into your life to replay them all over again further down the line. But it's more than that. It's more than that, EFT, because not only is it the only truly grounding method that I have found is definitely safe for awakening, but it literally halves your healing work completely, okay? It works on both the physical body, so we're talking the nervous system, the literal physical body, and the energetic level, which is your soul at the same time. So when you heal any symptom, when you heal any uncomfortable feeling, problem, issue, anything in your life that you heal, it automatically heals both this lifetime and any past lifetimes that had that same problem without you having to do any of the heavy lifting. So when we're talking about this being valuable, it's another level. It's going to half the work for you, so you don't have to do, okay, I'll work on this lifetime first and then we'll start trawling through all those past lifetimes. No. You just work on the symptoms you've got right now and it'll automatically heal your past lives at the same time. It's incredible. And that is vital during awakening, because it means you're not only healing and resolving what's going on right now, but you're actually dissolving the blocks to your ascension. So all these symptoms that are coming up, all the issues that are coming up, these are the things that are standing in the way of you moving forward. Because the awakening part of your journey isn't the whole journey. It's really just meant to be a teardrop in the ocean, the thing that's going to get you to that enlightened place where you can step into your power, where you can align with your purpose, and where you can move forward and do what you're here to do. Shine that light from yourself, be your authentic self. The awakening isn't actually the end journey, it's the process to get you where you're meant to be, where the universe wants you to be. So you want to be healing and clearing all the blocks to your ascension, and that starts with treating your symptoms. Treating your symptoms is the thing that's going to dissolve all of that so that you can start moving forward. And it's not just about getting you out of the darkness and into a whole new light energy, a better space mentally. It's the fact that when you clear and heal those blocks with EFT, it literally changes your point of attraction. It's actually going to change the vibration that you send out, because all those negative blocks don't exist in your entire field anymore. And all those negative blocks that have been in your field attract back, like attracts like. So if that negative stuff is sitting in your energy field all around, past life memories, traumas, emotions, all this negative stuff, it attracts more of the same. If you can clear that with EFT, what you're actually going to do is send out a whole new vibration of positive stuff, and that's going to be returned to you. So just like when I started to tap, I started to realise things are getting better, and now that's weird, I'm meeting new people that are becoming friends and they're really positive and healthy and they're actually nice to me. That's really strange. And then, embarking on work where it wasn't a struggle to move into that space and to find success in all different areas of it, because the vibration was right. I had cleared the stuff that was holding me back, and the ascension pathway just says, okay, on you go, and shoved you forward in a good way. So it is literally amazing. So I don't want to waste any more time. Let's get into EFT. Like I said, don't worry about remembering anything. You can get the how-to cheat sheet at the end. I'll pop it in the comments, okay? When we're doing EFT, what we're doing is we are basically saying a statement to identify exactly what we want to work on, and then we start tapping around the points, okay? So the points are the same no matter what you're working on. The points don't change. That's why EFT is so simple. All you have to do is remember the points once, and you just keep repeating, and you change the words depending on what you're working on. So it's really, really simple. So I'll show you how we begin. So the first thing we do when we do any tapping whatsoever is we start by tapping on the side of the hand, okay? So you see how we've got this fleshy part just right under the pinky on the side of the hand. We call that the karate chop point. So that would be the point that you would literally, you know, connect if you were doing a kick-ass karate chop. That's the point that you're going to start tapping on, okay? Hi Melanie, thanks for saying I'm rocking it. Really appreciate that, thank you. Okay, so tapping on the side of the hand. And it doesn't really matter if you just use 1 or 2 fingers, but I like to use them all to make sure that I'm hitting that whole point. And that means I don't miss anything. And when we tap on this point, this is where we tell the energy what we want it to work on. So we know that when we start tapping around these other points, it will dissolve the blocks. But we need to tell it which block we want it to dissolve first. Okay, so this is where I hear people saying, I tried EFT and it didn't work for me. Sorry. I've done EFT for over 10 years. I have yet to find anyone that EFT absolutely did not work on. It's about the application. So you need to show your body what you want it to dissolve first, and you need to be specific so that the tapping can do its work. If you apply it properly and you learn it well, you'll get excellent results, okay? So we tap on the side of the hand, and when we're tapping on the side of the hand, we make a statement 3 times. And we fill in what we're working on. So I'm going to use an example. Let's go with anxiety, because that's always a big one for awakening. Okay, so we know that we're going to work on anxiety, and we start tapping on the side of the hand. And you can do this along with me at the same time now. Okay, so tap on the side of your hand, and then we repeat the statement 3 times. So we say, even though I have this anxiety, I love and accept myself anyway. We say it 3 times. Even though I have all this anxiety, I love and accept myself anyway. And you can say it too, last time. Even though I have all this anxiety, I love and accept myself anyway. So we've told the energy we want it to work on anxiety. So it starts looking for the block. Where's that anxiety in the body? It starts looking around. And then we start tapping, okay? So first of all, we tap on the top of the head, right on the centre, just right on the top of the head. Right where your crown chakra would be. And as we tap around these points in the body, we're going to give a little reminder, just to make sure the energy doesn't get confused, and just to make sure that it stays focused on the block that is creating the anxiety. Okay, so as we're tapping here, we're just going to repeat out loud, all this anxiety. And then we go to the next point, which is the edge of the eyebrow. Okay, so you can tap on that side or that side, it's up to you. It doesn't matter if you switch the points as you're moving, doesn't matter what side you work on, they're the same throughout the body. So you switch them up as much as you like, it'll still work. Okay, and as we're tapping on that point, we give a little reminder to the energy, what are we working on? All this anxiety. And then we tap the side of the eye. So see this bone that comes around here? You just want it right at the side of the eye, not down here, not up here, just right on the side. Okay. All this anxiety, still reminding the energy what we're working on. And then we tap under the eye, on the bone there, not down here, up here, just right on the bone. All this anxiety. And then we tap under the nose, so this space between the nose and the lip. Give it a reminder, all this anxiety. And then the chin, so that's that space right between your lip and the bottom of your chin, the little dent there, just right in the middle. All this anxiety. And then we work on the collarbone point. Now the collarbone, you'll find some people tap away out here. You're going about an inch down from that little dent, just right in the middle of the bone, and an inch out, okay? So I don't want to see people tapping away over here. You've got to be one of these sides, okay? So it's just not quite in the middle, it's just a little bit over, okay? And you can tap on any side you like. I just use a few fingertips to tap that point. And we give it a reminder what we're working on, all this anxiety. And then we tap on the wrist, so see that flat point right on the wrist there? And give a little reminder, all this anxiety. And that's it. You've just learned basic EFT. It doesn't get any more complicated than that. It's extremely simple. But what we do is we're going to do a few rounds of it. We're going to do a session where I'm going to tune in intuitively to everyone before we start, so that I'm processing something that applies to everybody, because that'll be the best way to do it. But when you're working on yourself, you just choose something to work on and you just repeat that process. So we're going to do it over and over again so that you really get a good feel for it, so that you understand the points, and so that you kind of settle into it and understand and exactly what you're doing, you can remember it. And like I say, I'll be tuned in intuitively to what everyone's feeling. Now, as we're tapping, it's not unusual for you to yawn, sigh, twitch, you might even burp. You might get strange sensations, you might have energy moving, you might get some emotion come up, you might get an ache or a pain kind of lightly somewhere. It's all okay, because what starts to happen is the energy starts to dissolve the block. And when it starts to dissolve the block, it shows you the next piece of the puzzle, okay? So if we start working on anxiety, we might remove anxiety. If this is the big block we're working on here, we work on anxiety and we tap that away. And then actually we find out under there's some sadness. We're like, wow, I feel sad now, that's strange. So we start tapping again for the sadness. And then underneath that, we start to find we've got all this tightness in the stomach. We say, that's strange, but we tap on that. And then under there might be some crying. You might just start crying, you're not sure why. We do some crying. And every time you work on these different levels, it goes down and down and down until the block literally disappears and melts away. And when that happens, your energies start to flow completely differently. Your point of attraction changes because the negative block isn't in your system anymore. And it promotes healing throughout the whole physical and energetic body. Okay, really, really powerful. So we're going to go back in. And I just want to tune into everyone before we start, because I can actually feel that there is some anxiety. The word that's coming up is worry. So whenever you're doing this in yourself, you just focus on what you want to work on, whatever it is. I'm just aware at the moment that I can feel that because I'm tuning into you guys. I can feel worry in my stomach. So I focus on it for a little second and I make sure I can really feel it, and I notice what it feels like and where I can feel it. So it's definitely worry and it's definitely in my stomach. So we start with that. Okay, so I want you guys to tap along with me so that you're really getting a good feel for EFT tapping and you're knowing what to do. So let's do it together. Okay, so tapping on the side of the hand, and as we tap on the side of the hand, you're going to be repeating after me. So make sure you say out loud exactly what I'm saying, and I'll give you a little bit of space to say it. So repeat after me. Even though I have all this anxiety in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. Second time. Even though I have all this anxiety in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. Third time. Even though I have all this anxiety in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. So we've told the energy what we're working on, the anxiety that we can feel in the stomach, and then we're going to go through the points and just give a little reminder so that it knows that anxiety block, we want you to work on that and dissolve that down. And as we do that, we're going to be really aware of anything else that comes up. Thoughts, feelings, emotions, anything, okay? Tapping on the top of the head there. Just copy me. Don't worry what side it's on. Don't worry if you miss a point. You're just going to relax into it, okay? And we're just going to give a little reminder, all this anxiety, so say it with me. And then in between the eyebrows, just on the edge there, all this anxiety. And as we're doing this, it's important to notice that I'm just noticing that there's a wee sigh coming up there. You might sigh, you might have energy moving. That's a good sign that things are starting to change. So just go with the flow, but just be aware of what comes up and keep your focus on the feeling. So even if you don't have anxiety right now, you can focus on something else or look for it in your body, because you'll find it on the side of the eye. All this anxiety. And under the eye. Anxiety in my stomach. You just make sure you're repeating after me and tapping those points. All this anxiety. And just so you know, you don't have to tap as quickly as I do. Some people are slower. Some people tap really fast. Some people tap really hard. You just have to tap gently. That's all you need. But take it at your own pace. And then the chin, just right in between there. All this anxiety in my stomach. And then the collarbone. All this anxiety in my stomach. And then the wrist. All this anxiety in my stomach. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take a nice deep breath. And I can actually feel a shift. I can feel a sort of relaxed energy starting to move in, which is really good. And I can just see a couple of the comments actually. I can see Rashawn saying Just seeing you, my soul starts to relax and go, ah, it's okay, Kelly is here. That's so nice. Thank you. I'm glad it's having that effect. And Lorraine's joined as well. Hi Lorraine, I hope you're doing good. So that's the basic method, but we're going to keep going because the trick to this is where people stop. So usually people do a little round and then they say, nah, EFT didn't work for me. Well, if you stop there, EFT is never going to work for you. I can say that as a therapist. It will never work if that's all you do. You have to keep going, because this is just at the moment where your soul starts to say, okay, I'm going to give you the next piece of the puzzle. Can you dissolve this little block? And then there's something else under there. Can you dissolve this thing next? And it will work with you. It will keep giving you the next thing and the next thing. All you have to do is change the words for the next thing that you feel, and do a tapping round, focusing and reminding your energy what you want it to dissolve. What's the next thing that's come up? And if you keep following that until nothing comes up, you will have done a phenomenal session in yourself. But I can guarantee that if you don't take it to that level, if you don't give a little bit more effort into it and work with your soul, it's not going to be able to do its job. EFT can't do its job if you don't do it. You have to do it. Okay, so we're going to go back in. So I'm going to take a second to close my eyes and focus on that feeling that I had in my stomach, that anxiety. And this is weird because it came up the last time, but it must just be the energy of everyone we're working with. So what I can feel is a sense of worry, and I also got an image of flames in my stomach. So it's important for you to note that when you're working with EFT, your body is dissolving the blocks and it's releasing. It's not for you to interpret what that is. Okay, so I don't know what that means. I can see flames in my stomach. I don't know what that means. It's not my job to interpret what it means, to analyse what it means. You'll just waste time. Your soul just wants you to keep dissolving, and it's going to keep kicking them up and kicking them up and kicking them up. It just wants you to do the dissolving part, not the analysing part. If you start to analyse, you're going to waste time and you're going to halt the healing process when your soul's trying really hard to bring things up to the surface and you're busy getting distracted looking at other things. So keep your focus. So even though we don't know what that means, that fire in the stomach, we're just going to work with it. And someone's just telling me it's Kundalini. We're working with the Kundalini, so this will be good for all of us. Okay, so we start again. We've got a new symptom. This time it's not quite anxiety, it's worry. And it looks like flames in the stomach, so we just change the words. So tap with me now. Tapping on the side of the hand and repeat after me. Even though I have these flames in my stomach and all this worry, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have all this worry in my stomach and it looks like flames, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have all these flames of worry in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. So you see how we changed the words a little bit? Doesn't matter. You can say them exactly the same or you can change them around. As long as you mention what it is you want your energy to work on, it'll do the work for you. Okay, so we're going to tap on the top of the head and I'm going to focus on that feeling in my stomach. Sometimes it's good to even close your eyes and just repeat after me. These flames in my stomach. Then we're going to go in between the eyebrows, focusing on that feeling. All this worry in my stomach. You're just reminding the energy. It doesn't have to be the same every time if you don't want it to, but if you want to make it easier, you can just say, flames of worry in my stomach, all the way around, or all this worry in my stomach, that's fine. Side of the eye, all this worry in my stomach. Feel notice I just sighed there. That's energy moving, and I was seeing something at the same time. But I'll wait to the end, so tapping under the eye. All this worry. Under the nose. Worry in my stomach. And the chin. Flames of worry. Flames of worry in my stomach. And the last point. All this worry. Okay, so we take a big deep breath. And out. That helps to move the energy, so it's useful to do that. What I saw as I was working there was I started to see the flame go out. It turned to smoke and it just got snuffed out. So the good thing to do is you could just use that in the words. You just go with whatever it is, no matter how weird, no matter how wonderful, just go with it. Even though this flame's gone out in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. That would be fine. Your energy just wants to know where to put its focus. But I'm going to take a little minute extra to just close my eyes and tune into that feeling and see if I can get a bit more information on what it actually is. Okay. Right. So the word that came into my psyche when I focused on that feeling in my stomach there was death. Okay. Now, not our job to analyse it, not our job to work out what it is, but what I can tell, because I'm used to working this way, is that there's a fear of death that's quite common amongst all of us, and it's probably a 3D belief system. Okay, doesn't matter what it is, doesn't matter where it comes from, it's our job just to keep dissolving that energy. Okay, so we're going to work with it, even though it sounds strange, doesn't matter. Just tap on the side of the hand and just tap with me. It's great when all these weird things come up, it makes it more interesting. Okay, just tapping on the side of the hand and repeat after me. Even though I have this fear of death in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have this fear of death in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. I know what we're working on, but I'll tell you at the end. Even though I have this fear of death in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. It's starting to come up. I can feel this surge of energy coming up, but I'm just going to keep going so that we get through this tapping round. It's just energy moving. Okay, so tapping on the top of the head. I'm just waiting to see if we need to focus. No, it's okay. Okay, and just repeat after me. This fear of death. This fear of death. This fear of death in my stomach. Be sure to be saying it out loud. Really let your system connect with that fear. This fear of death. This fear of death. Just copying me exactly. Doesn't matter if you're on this side tapping under the eye or this side, doesn't matter. Just do your best and you'll always get good results. All this fear of death. Fear of death in my stomach. All this fear of death. Okay, so we stop there. Take a nice deep breath. And I knew what it was. Right, so this will sometimes happen to you. So you start off with something else and you start saying the words that you're going to say, and it pops into your mind what the issue is. Or it starts to become clear when you're tapping around the points. You go, oh, I know what it is. That's okay. You just keep going till you get to the end of the tapping round. And then you go back and you change your words with whatever came up, because that's the most important thing. And it's also worth noting that sometimes you'll get round the points and you'll say, oh, I know what this thing is. It's because my mum did such and such when I was younger, or oh yeah, it's from this one time, or it's this emotion. And then you finish the tapping points and you go, I can't remember what that was that came up. That means that it's cleared. Okay, if it's important, it'll always come back up. Trust your soul and your system to give you the answers. Nothing can disappear away from you that you can't get back. It will show you exactly what you need. So if it's gone, it's not necessary. But if you can still remember it, then use it. So what I started to realise as we were tapping here is it's past life trauma. We're all holding that in the stomach area. So if people are having weird, I'm actually picking up on it. If people are having weird stomach stuff going on just now, if your stomach's making weird noises, if it's not digesting food in the right way, some people might even be getting weird achy pains. It's an issue that's been held in the stomach, so we know that the block is in the stomach, okay? But it's a collective thing. I can feel that it's the trauma of all the past lives we've lived and all the times that we've died. That's as simple as it is. It's just trauma, sadness, emotion that's still there. And as I'm even saying that, I can feel the energy of the sadness that we all carry on that level. So we're just going to get right back into it. So I'm going to start simply with what I picked up on, which was past life trauma in the stomach. Okay, tapping on the side of the hand, repeat after me. And if you get any emotion coming up, you just allow it to flow. But the most important thing, no matter what comes up, is that you keep tapping. If you stop tapping when your system's trying to process something, you'll interrupt the process. Let it release completely and you'll feel better in a few minutes. But if you stop halfway through, you'll be stuck in the emotion. So keep going. Let your system process it all. Okay? So tapping on the side of the hand and repeat after me. Even though I have all this past life trauma in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have all this past life trauma in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. Last time. Even though I have all this past life trauma, I love and accept myself anyway. Okay, so the words aren't always perfect, but we're telling the energy exactly what we want to work on. So we go to the top of the head. All this past life trauma. Say it with me. All this past life trauma. This past life trauma in my stomach. All this past life trauma. And keeping your focus on wherever you feel the issue. Okay, so you might not be totally connected to what we're working on today, because I'm channeling this for everyone. But when you're working on your own, just keep your focus on whatever it is you can feel as you're tapping around the points, and you'll get much better results. Okay, all this past life trauma. Past life trauma in my stomach. Just giving it a reminder, and it's dissolving that block right now. It's starting to dissolve it. Down and down and down and down and down. All this past life trauma. All this past life trauma. Big deep breath. That kind of came without me having to think about it, so I know I'm clearing. The thing I became aware of as we finished there, and every time you work it might just be an emotion, it might be a thought, it might be a memory. But for me, what I was being shown is the collective consciousness and the tragedy that we're carrying. Ooh, yeah, there's some emotion under there, I can feel that. So what I'm going to do is incorporate the fact that I can feel that emotional surge in my stomach. And let me just work out, is it collective? It's tragedy. We're carrying a lot of tragedy with us. So we just use the words that we had. It doesn't have to be perfect, but we just go right back in. We don't interrupt the process, we keep it going, okay? So tapping on the side of the hand and just changing the words, okay? Even though I feel the tragedy of the collective consciousness, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I feel all this tragedy in my stomach, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I feel all this tragedy of the collective consciousness, I love and accept myself anyway. I feel like a few of you might be crying right now, but that's okay. Just let those tears flow and keep on tapping, and it'll release, it'll move for you. Tapping the top of the head. All this tragedy. In between the eyebrows. All this tragedy. The side of the eye, collective consciousness. Under the eye, all this tragedy. Under the nose, all this tragedy. The chin, tragedy of the collective consciousness. The collarbone, all this tragedy in my stomach. All this tragedy. Okay, nice deep breath. Now, when you work on this on your own, you might find that you need to take a few minutes to close your eyes and focus on the body and notice what comes up. I'm used to doing this, so my system's halfway through and it goes, here's the next thing. It's just used to bringing it up quickly. What I can feel is pain in the chest, and it's grief. There's so much grief from you guys. And it's past life grief. It's all the lifetimes you've lived over and over and over again. And all that grief is sitting in the chest. It's not even in the heart chakra, it's carried in the lungs. So if you've noticed that you've been wheezing, coughing, you've had aching lungs, chest problems throughout your life, if you've got chest problems now that you're just noticing, you're thinking things are dusty and they're actually not, it's the grief is sitting there and it's ready to be released. Just like I said, your soul shows you what to work on. It'll give you a problem to identify what that is. So we're going to go right back in. I know that it's grief, and I know that it's in my chest, and I know that it's from past lives. So we just work those words into the process. That's all we do. Okay? Tapping on the side of the hand and repeat after me. Even though I have all this past life grief, in my chest. I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have this past life grief in my chest, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have this past life grief in my chest, I love and accept myself anyway. And as I'm saying that, I can notice that the tension that I've got in my chest is starting to get a little bit tighter. Sometimes that'll happen and a symptom will intensify because you're starting to actually pick at it. The energy's starting to actually rumble up a little bit. That's perfectly normal and it means that you're doing it right. But the important thing, like I always say, is just keep going, okay? So tapping the top of the head. All this grief in my chest. Focus on it. Focus on that feeling. All this past life grief. Past life grief in my chest. Under the eye. All this past life grief. And I'll just see what it's doing. Tightening in my chest. All this past life grief. All this grief in my chest. I'm just noticing the word aching. It's like a kind of aching grief, so I'll bring that in. All this aching grief. Now sometimes if you get to the end of the wrist point and you feel like you need a little bit more or it's not quite shifted, we can just go back in and do another round. So we're still working on the same thing. We don't have to change the words, so just do a little bit more. All this grief in my chest. Starting to shift now. All this past life grief. Yep, you can see it starting to move up to the throat, starting to release. You'll hear my voice going a little bit dry because it's starting to move. All this past life grief. Aching in my chest. All this past life grief. It's aching in my chest. All this grief in my chest. All this grief in my chest. Okay, big deep breath. And out. Just going to notice if I can feel anything else. I don't want to make the video too long, but I think it's important to clear this for you guys. So the main thing I'm doing here is I'm looking at what I could feel before. I can't feel anything new coming up, so I start looking at what I could feel before, which was that grief in the chest. And there's still a bit of tightness there, and a bit of tension. When I tune into it, it feels like brokenness. And usually I would think that's a broken heart, but it feels like a broken chest. So again, not what we analyse, not what we interpret, we just go with what it shows us. I'm getting the sense of a broken chest, we work with broken chest, okay? This will probably be our last round, so do it with me. Okay, we just use the words exactly as we feel it. Even though I have a broken chest, I love and accept myself anyway. Even though I have a broken chest, I love and accept myself anyway. Third time. Even though I have a broken chest, I love and accept myself anyway. The top of the head. This broken chest. This broken chest. This broken chest. Keep your focus on it. All this brokenness. And like I say, you can keep the words the same every time. You could just say broken chest at every point. Or you can mix it up if you like. As long as you're saying everything you said on that tapping point, that's fine. This broken chest. All this brokenness. This broken chest. And the wrist, this broken chest. And I can feel it starting to lift, but I think we'll go in and do one more round. So we're working on the same thing, it's not changed. So we can go right to the top of the head again. All this brokenness, that's it starting to move, I can feel it lifting now. All this brokenness. Brokenness in my chest. This broken chest. Under the nose, feeling so broken. Broken in my chest. You'll see why I like to switch the words up a little bit, because it can be a little bit repetitive, but it still does the job. This brokenness in my chest. Ooh, I can feel that moving. Give me shivers. All this brokenness in my chest. Okay, big deep breath in and out. Yep, that feels like it. We've done the job, we've done it right. So can you see how when we're tapping, we're just looking for the next thing that comes up? You're just chasing it, the pain around the body, chasing the issue. Whatever comes up, you just change your words. The tapping with this and the 3 times statement, even though I have whatever it is, I love and accept myself anyway. You say that 3 times, that doesn't change. The tapping points doesn't change. You just give a little reminder of what you're working on every time you tap on those points, okay? That's all it is. Doesn't get any more complicated, no matter what you're working on, whether it's a past life or whether it's current life or whether it's an emotion or depression or anxiety. Doesn't get any more complicated. You just tell it the energy, what you want it to clear, and then you tap around the points and give a little reminder so that it stays focused as you're tapping. And that's what's going to dissolve those blocks right down, and that's what's going to change your point of attraction and change your awakening completely, okay? So you want to really get into that so that you're not just doing 5 minutes of tapping and then people say tapping didn't work. Tapping won't work if you only do 5 minutes. You need to do what we did and get in that little bit deeper and work that little bit further so that you're really getting in on a deep level and allowing your soul to work with you so you can resolve it completely. Okay, so give me some feedback, guys. Tell me how you got on with it, and I'll advise you as best I can. I'd love to know how you felt. Ruby says she could feel it going up from her stomach to her chest to her head all the way up. So that's that energy which has moved. You know, we were working on Kundalini in the beginning. It looked like Kundalini energy. That's because it's meant to come up right through the centre. So what it's actually done for you is dissolve the block in the stomach, dissolve the block in the chest, and then dissolve the block in the head. So it's actually coming right up through. So that's fantastic. Well done. You must have been doing it right. She says, wow, I've never felt like this before with EFT. You've explained it so differently. Thank you. You are more than welcome. And I just want you guys to be able to apply it in a way that's actually going to be useful for you. I don't want you to have to wait for therapy sessions. I don't want you to have to worry about money while you're doing, you know, your spiritual awakening. I just want you to be able to manage it and make it easier. Okay, so Danielle is saying, is the order of the points important? If so, why? So I'll address that first. The order of the points is not actually important. The reason that we have them in the specific order that we do is that it's just simple that if you start at the top of the head, you work your way down the body. That makes it easier to remember, but it's not imperative. So that's why I say if you miss out a point, it's not the end of the world. Okay, people are too heavy with it and think that it has to be perfect to get results. It doesn't. It does not have to be perfect at all. In fact, I worked with a girl today and we were recording the video for the new course, which is all about how to use EFT Tapping to heal your awakening. And we were working on a past life memory. And there was loads of points where she'd never done it before, so she kind of was tapping in the wrong place and then sometimes missed one out, and we still got excellent results. So even if you skip a point or you inadvertently say, oops, I missed one, you don't need to go back. You just keep going down the body and do your best to remember as you can, but it'll still work perfectly. In fact, a good one to know is if ever you get into a panic attack or a really intense emotional bout of emotion, you can actually tap right there. That's an emergency point. And even just tapping on that point alone will really help you. Okay, and also Danielle says, is it normal for the points to become a little bit sore after tapping for a while? You might be tapping just a wee bit too hard. And also you need to remember some of these points lie on neurolymphatic drainage points. So if there's a lot of toxins in your system, it can be a wee bit tender. But just tap a little bit more gently. You don't have to kind of pound that tapping point in. It's literally just the lightest touch will stimulate that energy. No problem. And Rajni, I hope I'm saying your name correctly, is saying any side is fine, any side is fine. And I mean, even if you choose to start here and then you do this point and then you go, oh, I'm going to change sides, I'll go under here, and down here, and then, oh, I'll go to this side here. It doesn't matter. As long as you are tapping the points, you're dissolving energy. Your body doesn't care what, you know, pattern you use them in or what order, or if you skip some out, jumble them up, it doesn't matter. You can switch sides as much as you like, and actually you'll get into a practice where you find the flow that is most comfortable for you, and you just use that every time. That's as simple as it is. Okay, So Casey says, if it's permanent, why does it feel like some days, feels like it's some days, yeah, it feels balanced, but then other days it comes right back. Is this because I'm ungrounded? Okay, so there's two things to this. One of them could be that you are ungrounded. If you're ungrounded when you're trying to do healing, it becomes really muddy and complicated and hard to see the issues from all the other stuff. So it could be that you're being ungrounded and it's making the healing process a little cloudier to see through. But it's also possible that what happens with, if you have something that you've tapped on but it comes right back, that means that you've not dissolved it to the absolute root. If you dissolve something to the root, and by that I mean tapping, chasing around the body until nothing else comes up. So you know how we just changed the words every time something else came up? And then by the end I was saying, no, that's it, there's nothing else is coming up. Then you know you're done. So it's about having those healing sessions where you're chasing it all around the body until nothing else presents itself. You've resolved it to the absolute core. So the better you get at that, the better results you'll get, and you'll find that it is permanent. But if you're only ever taking the top layer off it, you're not able to really work right down to the root by following it all the way, then you'll find that these things do come back up because the block's still there. Okay, so it's just guidance on how to delve that little bit deeper and work that little bit more more deeply. Okay, let's see if there's anything else. We've just got some nice messages. I think that's it. So let me just check if there's anything else I need to cover. I think that's it. So basically, you've learned the basic method. It doesn't get any more complicated than that. All you're going to do is change the words to suit what it is that you're feeling and what you're experiencing. Listen to your body, trust your soul to give you the next layers. It wants you to move through your awakening and move into all this cool stuff that you're meant to be here to do. So don't stress, just trust your body and keep changing the words and keep going until there's nothing left. And sometimes it'll take you 30 minutes. Sometimes it might take a little bit longer. But when you do that, you're doing a therapist level technique on yourself. And you're giving yourself the best chance of really resolving something completely in this lifetime and in the past lifetime. You're healing it on the soul level as well. So don't fret about remembering everything that we worked on. Like I said, I created a free tapping cheat sheet that's like a how to do tapping that will keep you on track. And I'll pin it to the comments so that you can get it straight away. And also I'll answer any questions. So even if you're watching the replay, if you have a question, pop it in the comments and it's no problem. I'll answer it as best I can for you. And don't forget to join us tomorrow, which is the second class in the series, where I'll teach you how to identify exactly what your soul needs you to heal so that you can move forward in your awakening, make your awakening easier, reduce your symptoms, and get started on some epic healing sessions. And let me know how your tapping goes in the comments. And also, just as a note, if you want to do more tapping or if you want to have another practice, I've got a free tapping lesson available. It's part of the Joyful Awakenings course that's coming out just now that I was telling you about. I'll pin that to the comments too, just in case anyone wants another little run through, because it's so fun and I'm dead passionate about it. So I hope you enjoy and I will see you then. Thank you so much for joining us and have a good day. Bye.